Told you this was a tough banquet. What do you do now? You sing Come Holy Ghost or something? That was tremendous. I love that poem. Too bad your wife and daughter are gone. We'd love to meet them. Climb that high. I'm afraid of heights. Anybody else afraid of heights? I don't even go to high mass, for crying out loud. And he's climbing up there. You know, sports throws around the word great a lot, but not with our next presenter. He's a great athlete. You don't tell him he can't do it, just what you heard a minute ago. Can't, won't, not in his vocabulary. After a spine injury, he heard the doctor say, "You won't ever be the same. You won't walk again." Mike Utley just smiled because he knew better. February 15th, I hope all of you saw that. He made headlines. We saw it on television. I know it brought a tear to my eye as I watched him on TV take his first steps in 7 years. I mean, come on, think about that. He's the past 1997 Gene Autry Courage Award winner, Mike Utley.
You ain't getting my Bud Light. It's my turn. You step down, my good man. Step down, my turn. Wow. Thanks for the reception. Shoot, I wish you all would have cheered that much for me when I was a ball player. My God, that was great. It's truly an honor to be up here after receiving it 2 years ago. And the one thing I always learned from my parents was, never quit. And when they have said that, it meant everything from sports, which I chose to excel in, personally, because we're always faced with adversity at some point in our life. Something is going to happen to you. Sometimes things that you never believed would happen. As an athlete, as a football player, I had a 22-inch neck. I was not supposed to break my neck, but things do happen. And it never mattered what happens to you as an individual, but what really matters is what you do with the adversity you are faced with. Because the old saying goes, you're only as good as your last play. Well, my last play as an NFL football player was a touchdown. I never had the opportunity to walk off the football field. And I tell you, one day I will, because I have what they considered courage. But the gentleman I'm introducing today also has courage. He is somebody who had some adversity, as we all face through our own time. But the one thing is, he has made a conscious decision every single day to make the difference. He will make the difference, not only for himself, but for others around him. Because as he knows, this injury, spinal cord injury, affects not only you as a wheelchair person, but the community, your friends, your family, and your loved ones. So the gentleman that I will introduce here in a moment is somebody who is not only a pusher, but a role model. He is making a difference in many people's lives today by being someone who's taken charge and bringing awareness to spinal cord injuries and showing other people who have this injury that you can make the difference if you so desire. This gentleman has a desire. Before I bring him up, I'd like to have you all watch a quick video for David Carey.
There is a nightmare that, with some variation in its details, most people have had at one time or another. It's the one where you're trying to escape some imminent danger, but your arms and legs don't work. You can't defend yourself, you can't walk, you can't run, you can't even scream. It's the kind of nightmare that is so disturbing that it usually ends up waking us, heart-pounding, sweating from exertion, untangling ourselves from the covers, and shaking the bad dream from our heads. David Carey woke up one night to find that his nightmare had come true. David lettered in high school football, basketball, and baseball in his hometown of Bay City, Texas. After graduation in the spring of 1988, he moved to Arizona to attend Scottsdale Community College. His goal was to transfer to ASU and play baseball as a Sun Devil. He carried with him Bay City's hopes and his parents' dreams that he would find his destiny as an athlete. But destiny of another, crueler sort awaited him in Scottsdale. As David lay sleeping in his bed on the night of March 7, 1989, a teammate and roommate returned to his apartment with a stolen gun. Not realizing the gun was loaded, his roommate pulled the trigger. A 9mm bullet ricocheted through his bedroom door and entered David's back between his shoulder blades, severing his spine. The pain that awakened him was as though he was being electrocuted. He couldn't move, he couldn't talk, he couldn't breathe. David awoke a quadriplegic, struggling to stay alive. In the 3 days that followed, it was a struggle that he almost lost. Several weeks in the hospital made him well enough to endure 40 days of rehabilitation. His family moved from Texas to provide support as he fought his way toward independence. As he learned to function with a tiny fraction of the physical skills he had once commanded, he attended classes at Scottsdale Community College while living in hospitals and nursing homes. Then, fulfilling a promise to himself, David continued his education at ASU, where he received his degree in physical education in December of 1997. Life in a wheelchair is itself an education, especially to an athlete. And David began almost immediately to use his experience to help others. He compiled a resource manual for other ASU students with disabilities. He also coordinated ASU's first adaptive technology exhibition. And he talks. He has talked to incoming freshman athletes about their vulnerability and the choices they will confront. He talks about the dangers and consequences of gun ownership, about decision-making and alcohol. His warmth and sincerity have earned him high praise as an inspirational speaker. David's dream is to coach, where he can continue to transfer the valuable lessons he has learned to those who can benefit from them. The bullet that tore David's athletic gifts from him in a nightmare instant 10 years ago didn't break his spirit, nor did it harden his heart. In his struggle to survive his loss, he found another set of gifts that awakens the dreams of others.
I would like to bring up a man of courage and a role model for you and I, David Carey.
Thanks, Mike. Kind of a funny story about that night, actually. When I first woke up, first thing I thought was, what the hell did I eat last night? It's kind of a rude awakening, wasn't it? Bad nightmare. But anyway, I'm still here. So first of all, before I begin, I would like to first start by saying thank you to a few people. The Robert McCormick Foundation, Tribute Foundation, the Anaheim Angels Program, and Angel Care, as well as Tempe Sports Authority and the City of Tempe for hosting this event. Standing here tonight, well, I mean in my case, sitting here tonight, it was a joke, you can laugh. Would not be possible without friends and family. I'm going to try to be brief as possible, so if I leave anyone out, forgive me because they only allow me 3 to 5 minutes, so I'll try to, hopefully I won't forget anyone. About 10 years ago, after my accident, my parents made a decision to move to Arizona. It's a big decision, leaving their home, their apartment, where they stayed, where they had roots, where they had family, to come support their son. So their son could fulfill his dreams, that is, get an education, going to college, and becoming a productive citizen in society. I hope I have fulfilled those goals they thought I would do. So for that reason, I'd like to say thanks for all your support, for the sacrifices that you have made. Next, I'd like to say thanks to my sisters, April and Anita. When I left the hospital a few years ago, it was my sisters who lived with me when I came home, making sure that I had the things that I needed to survive on a daily basis, sacrificing, taking time out of their lives. They're young kids. They're young like me, sacrificing to do things so I could have a life. For that reason, I'd like to thank them. Next, I'd like to thank a couple people who are not in this audience tonight, but they're back in Texas. One is my grandmother. I've seen her a couple times, and she's constantly lending support, moral support. Every time I tell my grandmother I get something, at least good that is, she always say, "Baby, Grandma's so proud of you." and what I like to say is I'm proud to have her as my grandmother. The next person I talk about is Miss Martha Autry. She's a lady who I met after my accident. She lives back in Texas. Since my accident, she has sent cards, gifts, care packages, and newspapers so I can keep in touch with what's going on in my hometown. For that, I like to tell her thank you. I really appreciate that. The next person I like to talk about is someone that everyone in this audience probably knows or have heard about. His name is Mr. Leonard Koppel. I met Mr. Leonard Koppel about 9 years ago after my accident. He came to my hospital bed. He saw a young man who would need a lot of things in order to survive. Mr. Koppel, he reached deep in his pockets. He brought me a computer, a van, and 2 wheelchairs. For his generosity, I'd like to say thanks. In my last moments, I'd like to say a few thank yous to a few people. Scottsdale Community College, Disabled Student Service at ASU, D. Duggan, my counselor at Scottsdale Community College. Ironically, her son is a police officer for Scottsdale, and he was one of the first ones on the scene that night. Also, I'd like to say thanks for being a friend, Dee Willis, who's in med school right now. My 2 friends over there, John and Katrin Wolf. A lady named Ann Burke, who's also an employee at ASU. I would also like to say thanks to a couple guys who have been working with me the last few years, Harry Keneally and Sam Williams. They not only have been employees, but good friends, as well as many others. In concluding, I'd like to say, Mike, what you have done, you and Christopher Reeves and many others, gives me the hope that someday people like myself will be able to physically recover from their wounds. For that, I'd like to say, keep up the good work. A lot of times we are the ones that get these awards, but if you don't mind, I would like for everyone to give a standing ovation to my family and Mr. Leonard Koppel for everything they have done in order to allow me to live a life that I've lived. Thank you.
Like other qualities of character, courage is how you act when nobody's around, when nobody can see you struggle against your pain, your fear, your loss. The people we met tonight have lived up to the highest expectations we have for our fellow human beings. By winning their struggle, beating the odds, and coming out on top, they have given us all something to look up to. Courage is defined as the quality of mind or spirit that enables one to face difficulty, danger, or pain without fear. Most of us have wondered how we would deal with adversity. if we would be able to demonstrate those qualities we call courage. We honor these people for showing us how. We can only hope that we would be as strong, as tough, as courageous as they have been in the face of overwhelming challenges. We admire them, we honor them, but most of all, we thank them.
I think this banquet, this meeting is perfectly named Gene Autry Courage Awards. And on behalf of the Tempe Sports Authority and the Angels Care Program, I think we all go home with a lesson tonight. I sit here and I listen just like you, and I'm saying to myself, greatness goes humility and determination. Boy, did we see it tonight. We were blessed to have them in our midst. And God love their families and give them the courage to continue to do what they're doing. Because the late and great Jackie Robinson said, your life is only as good as the impact it makes on others. And what an impact they're making. People, we have to keep each other warm. And that's what they did for me tonight. God love all of you for being here, and thanks to you who made it possible.